Monday. I'm back, and today I'm going to be talking all about a huge roadblock that many moms face, and it's this: purging our kids' clothing and artwork. Kids' items can be super challenging to purge, primarily for two reasons. One, they're constantly growing and changing, so it seems like it's never ending. And the second reason is, as moms, we can get super sentimental about all the things. But with the strategies that I'm going to share today, I know that you can do it. So let's first start with clothes. And my first tip is this: before you even start purging, grab a piece of paper and a pen so that as you are purging, you can jot down what needs to be replaced. This simple step can make the whole process feel less overwhelming because you won't have to go back later and figure out what gaps you need to fill in. And it really feels like you are taking control of the process from the outset. And even that simple mindset trick that you are in control of this, you are going to dictate how it goes, will make it feel so much more manageable. So let's talk purging. Obviously, if an item is too small for your child, you'll pass it along. But something that a lot of us have a harder time passing along are those clothes that we love, that we would want our kids to wear, and for one reason or another, they don't like and they don't wear them. It could be because they don't like the style. And for a lot of kids, it can be because they don't like how it feels, right? A lot of kids have sensory issues. And just because you bought it and you love it and you want them to wear it, if your kid won't wear it without a fight, I say pass it along guilt-free. Give it to another child that actually will wear it. This was a big one that I had to get over, but both of my kids are super particular about what goes on their body. I've given up the fight completely. I do have one or two outfits for each of the kids that I will make them wear for doing family photos or a dress up event, something like that. But otherwise, they choose their clothing, and I don't hold on to things anymore, even if they're in perfectly good condition, that they're not going to wear, because it takes up space in the drawer and it causes a fight, and it's just going to need to be purged eventually. So I say get rid of it now you have my full permission to get rid of it now. You don't need to hold on to it. So as you are purging, put these items immediately into a trash bag or a bin, whatever they're going to go into, because again, this will save you time at the end when you are running out of steam and you just want to be done with it all. Purging clothing is one of the things that we can actually keep pretty contained. It doesn't have to make a huge mess. And if you bag it up while you go, by the time you are done with it all, there won't be a massive sense of chaos around you. So that is my other tip for you. So I want to quickly address hand-me-downs. And this is a big topic that comes up over and over again. I get tons of questions for those of you that have multiple kids or are possibly planning on having more kids, or you have siblings of your own or friends that you pass clothes on to. So my favorite way to store hand-me-downs is in a clear storage bin, any kind of your choosing, but clear does make a difference because when you can see inside, you won't forget what's in there. And label it by size. So I usually store them by 12 months. If you don't have, so 12-month increments. So 12 to 24 months, 2T to 3T. If you don't have a ton, you can store 2 years together, but just make sure that you are labeling it so that when you pull them out for your next child, you know exactly what's there, or if you're passing them along, your friends and family knows what's in them. And the same thing is true if you receive hand-me-downs. We were blessed to get a lot of hand-me-downs when my kids were younger. I would always immediately go through them, take out anything I knew my kids wouldn't wear, wash them, and then store them in clear storage bins labeled by size. So before I would go to buy anything for my kids, I would check those bins first. Now, if you have a basement, an attic, a storage closet that you're keeping them in, stackable bins are great. I personally kept them under my kids' beds because that's where I was doing the switch over. So I used the flat rolling under bed bins. I'm not a huge fan of under bed storage. I think it's like bad energy to have a lot of stuff under our beds unless we live in an apartment or a really small space and need to maximize our underbed storage. But when my kids were little, I had all of their hand-me-downs under their beds because it was just super easy. But the big thing you need to keep in mind is to make sure you are keeping your bins labeled. And my other tip is, as you are going through this process of getting rid of your hand-me-downs, if you're not keeping them for another child or to pass along, get them out of your house immediately. The more quickly you get them out, the more control you will have over your home. Okay, let's switch gears and talk about artwork. And this one is much harder for most of us, because artwork feels so sentimental and emotional. So here's my biggest tip, friend. Be ruthless. I know this might sound intense to some of you, but I say this often. If everything is precious, then nothing is precious. We cannot keep it all. We cannot keep every single piece of artwork, pottery, beautiful creations that our kids make. We can't keep it all. So choose the things that are most precious to you. So I personally love anything with a handprint or a special love note, something that seems like a lot of heart and time was put into it. So you get to decide what those things are for you. It may be helpful to ask yourself, how much of your childhood artwork did your parents keep for you? Do you wish they kept more, or do you wish they kept less? My parents kept almost nothing. The few things they did keep, I threw out. I didn't want them. One of our members, however, is an art teacher, and she loves looking back at the artwork that she created when she was a kid, and therefore she keeps a lot for her kids. So the bottom line is, there is no right or wrong here. You get to choose, but you cannot keep it all. So get rid of as much as you are comfortable with no guilt. You do not need to feel guilty about throwing it away, because remember, the joy was in the process of making it. That is the value of art. Yes, we can enjoy it afterwards once it's done, but the value for our kids was in the making it and in giving it to us. We do not have to keep all of it. I personally keep my kids' artwork in scrapbooks. I don't actually scrapbook. I stick them in just the plastic sleeves, and we keep a few key pieces each year. I also like to keep some pottery 3D pieces in plastic bins. For a lot of my clients who have an appetite for keeping more than I do, we usually have 2 storage bins. One bigger one for the bigger art projects, and then one where we do a file by grade that keeps artwork and schoolwork. So again, find a system that works for you, but just remember, you cannot keep it all, and you do need a system and a process. One more thing I'll add is, when my kids bring home their artwork, we always display it initially. We'll put it up on a bulletin board so that they get to enjoy us enjoying their artwork. But from that bulletin board, it either goes in the trash, which is about 90% of it, or from there, I'll take the masterpieces and put those in their scrapbook. So we have this sort of interim enjoyment phase, and then we decide what's going to stay and what's going to go. Now, this is important. It's okay if you need to take your time with this, because our kids will continue to bring home artwork, and it really might take you a while to determine what you want to keep, what that right amount to you is. So remember, the goal is progress, not perfection. There you have it, friends. Those are my top tips on purging mostly your kids' clothes and art. I hope it was helpful to all you mamas out there. You're doing amazing. And let me know below if you have any specific questions that I could answer. I always love to hear from you, and I hope that you have a fabulous week.